And then it gets to that, okay, that next step, right? Which is, okay, now what does the home come with?
Yeah.
Right? It's, I think
so we're talking,
you
so
found
we're
out
talking
that
kind of
that's a huge
inclusions,
piece.
and then we're talking also, two things here, right? It's what's the home come with, like you mentioned, and also the floor plan. Touch on that a little bit. We have a lot of different floor plans that are all ideas on our website.
Yeah.
As kind of a basis for people to really get their gears turning on thinking what's right for their family. We always say, the sky's pretty much the limit. We're a fully custom builder. We have a lot of idea plans. I think we have 80 something idea plans
right
on our website. So in that, in step 2, kind of our process, which is, reviewing inclusion of house plans, people are coming through our models. They're getting a feel for our product, getting a feel for room sizes, kind of open concept,
quality
feel,
level
layout,
build.
quality level build.
Yeah, they start learning like more about our energy efficient processes, or healthier, homes, and those things really start hitting home with them, right? And that's when they start learning about, that's what kind of gets them diving in to that inclusions.
Yeah.
You go on our website, you mentioned idea plans, right? A lot of people come in and they start talking about, they say standard floor plans. And I always answer with, well, we really don't have any standard floor plans. Everything you see on our website is all about ideas. We're 100% custom.
When have we actually built, a plan
we never
exactly
really
as it is on our site, right? It's everyone's kind of using those as a basis. They're a great starting point because I know there's a lot of custom builders out there where it's kind of like, okay, you're gonna design from scratch. Well, it's like, what's that starting point? The starting point kind of winds up being like house, and they're getting those ideas elsewhere.
All they're doing is coming with somebody else's floor plans rather than ours.
So we're giving them that starting point, and then we're saying the sky's the limit from there. Yeah. So, but I think in that first visit or first or second visit to our models, they're getting a really good feel on the product. I think a lot of people, I've heard come in our models and they're like, well, how big is this room? And then they might be looking at a floor plan.
How many square feet is this house?
Yeah, how many square feet is this house? Like they might be looking at one of our plans on our website, right? That's 3,000 square feet. And then they're doing a comparison, and then they're, walking into the master bedroom saying, well, how large is this master bedroom? Okay. And they're pulling out the plan in our plan book and saying, okay, this master bedroom is 18 by 20, and the one in this plan is 20 by 16.
Or is the hardwood that's in the master bedroom, here in the model home, is that standard? Or is the vaulted ceiling that's here in the master bedroom, is that standard? And that kind of circles back to those inclusions, right? Yeah, so we have, the way we operate, and we explain this to everybody from day one, is we have what we call a custom collection inclusive feature sheet, right? We post it right on our website. I think it's 62 or 64 pages.
Yeah, with the picture.
We've pulled it into picture format just to make things, make better sense. You're in the office. The paper copy is, I think, 4 pages, but it's all words. And I always tell people, well, we didn't make up the saying, right? Picture's worth 1,000 words, but it truly is, right? And so you give somebody a picture of an entry door, rather than just talking about the entry door in words, it makes a lot more sense. And they look at it real quickly and they go, I either like it or I don't like it. And I always tell everybody, if you don't like what you're shown as a standard, you're probably going to spend a little bit more money, and that's, you have to be super, straightforward, transparent with the clients and such when you're talking to them, so that they can get a great sense of, okay, where am I going in price? Is my budget $1 million? Is it $1.5 million? Is it $2 million? Where does it fall? But our custom
and
collection,
this whole process, of like reviewing these inclusions and looking through floor plans. Obviously, we kind of jumped to this process from initially coming in our model home, but that's a process that takes multiple weeks. So clients making the initial kind of introduction, meeting with our sales team in our model home, touring the model, getting some ideas, creating that relationship that we'll, hopefully have for years to come. But then, that process that kind of transpires from there, it's weeks or months, right, where people are talking back and forth, coming in, second time, a third time, kind of looking at the product again, chatting with our salespeople, chatting with you on, on like, hey, these are ideas. We were looking at these floor plans on your website. We really like this. We really
or
like
they'll
that.
share sometimes like 5 pictures with me.
Yeah.
Or one of the sales team off a house that are, typically pictures of homes that are, double the budget they're trying to be. It's just, the pictures are just so impressive that, they fall in love with them. And right then it's, our job to take those and find a way to dial that down a bit you know, or up a bit, depending on budget, to get it to where they're looking to be.
Yeah, but they're kind of going through that process over, you know, multiple weeks, months.
I mean, I've had it where
it's been quick,
half
right?
that
A lot of
process.
people have already kind of been scoping us out for
Right.
months, you know, before they even step foot in our models. Some
Client-
people, you know,
yeah.
might just be moving in from out of town and step
Client
foot
I
in our
had
first time.
yesterday, I think knew every single page on our website. Our website's massive.
Yeah.
Right. So they've been on there. They literally knew every single person that worked here. And they never walked through our door until yesterday. And so with them, they came in yesterday. We had a home cost sheet to them today.
Yeah.
And so they were
How
quick.
often do you think it goes that way versus someone coming in for the
10% of
first
the
time?
time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most are kind of coming in for the first time, very new in the process.
Yeah.
And
Usually the
starting
first
the
time
process here.
is I'm not looking to buy because they're thinking that we're going to bother them.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, we've got I always call it a zero pressure policy here, right? It's like, hey, look through the model home. We're happy to give you all the information and a complete overload dump, or we're happy to stretch that out over, you know, several weeks.
Yeah. And we've always been all about give all the information we can.
Just give it all.
We're never going to try to like withhold, you know, information worrying that one of our competitors is going to get a hand. You know,
Your website's got to be like another model home.
Our website.
Right?
Yeah.
It's
basically
robust.
our virtual model home, right?
It's got all the information on there. You know, we talk about our base prices. We put right on there that your home site and your home site development costs are going to be in addition to that. So, you know, it's just, you know, being real on what information you're putting out there. So when they come in, you know, they're not thinking that they're able to walk in the door and buy a home for $650,000 in downtown Naperville.
Yeah.
You know, that's not going to happen, right? We
Yeah,
might
so
have
they're
other
kinda-
locations for that, but
Yeah.